Hey, good afternoon if you're watching us live. Maybe good morning, maybe good afternoon if you're listening or watching in the archive. We are live at Amerant Bank Arena. It is Game 3 tonight, the Florida Panthers and the Edmonton Oilers, and I have a spot quiz coming up in a second.
All right, okay.
Welcome to MVSW Week here in Sunrise. A couple hours away from puck drop. This segment, by the way, and this guy to my left, your right, is a presentation of Budweiser. Congratulations on the promotion, Greg.
Look at that.
Presentation of
All
Budweiser. Nary a tin to be seen anywhere. Budweiser is encouraging buds to make time for playoffs, not excuses. Every goal, every check, every win is better enjoyed with your buds. Phone a bud, text a bud, ping a bud, and call out their excuses for bailing on the playoffs. After all, the playoffs are the most wonderful time of the year. Make them count. When it's springtime, it's go time.
I don't ask for much from our sponsors.
Right.
I think that should get me at least the chance to ride a Clydesdale. And I don't mean behind a Clydesdale on the little cart. I mean on a Clydesdale, riding it, clump, 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 clump. That's my request to our friends at Budweiser.
You may get a couple of tins on the way out. I saw some. We're in a suite here, by the way. And as soon as we hit the air, the lights dimmed.
Yeah.
So all we're thinking is like, oh, geez, here come the horns.
Don't you ever feel like kind of amazed when you go to a suite level at an arena? Like, I'm still someone who buys tickets. Like, I buy doubles tickets. Me and my kid go to games and stuff. And like, whenever I go to the suite level of arena, I'm just like, oh, this is how the other half lives. Like, there are people that will be here tonight that are having a completely different experience than all of us paying exorbitant amounts of money for a thing of fries, waiting in line for beer, waiting in line to piss. Like, it is incredible to me every time I step into the suite level that there is an entire different. It almost makes it feel almost dystopian. I got to be honest with you. It feels almost dystopian that there's a class of people that have this experience while the rest of us are in the upper deck.
They're the ones that you walk past on the plane to get to our seats in the back with the livestock.
I had a middle seat between Edmonton and Chicago. My connecting flight. I will tell you, it was a definite middle. There was a battle for the armrests, ladies and gentlemen, and I lost.
Everybody loves hearing media travel stories. That's the one thing that I've learned.
Oh, come on. This one's different just because of the distance and everything. But yeah, it's not what everybody likes to hear.
2015. Before we get into today's show here, we got a lot to go over, and not just this game and this series. 2015, it wasn't the first, but it was one of the first MVSW meetups we had here.
Correct.
Before the Connor McDavid draft.
That's correct.
Do you remember the place?
No. What was the place? Do you remember it?
I called Paige today.
Okay.
Now Paige Dixon, then Paige Lewis, and asked her, Blondies.
Blondies.
Do you remember Blondies? Great spot.
I remember the meetups going like this. I would be in the front greeting people, being the ambassador for the podcast, thanking people for their patronage. And then someone else would be in the back with his laptop open showing people fights from 1950.
Well, you know, it's funny too because there's there's a few things that I remember from a lot of those. And that was honestly that was probably one of the best ones.
Yeah.
That we had here. With the crowd was great. It was awesome. Like I was thinking a lot about the last over this now 3-year run for the Florida Panthers, over how different it was when the Violas, Virtue Financial, first bought this team up until now. Like there's been a lot of this wasn't always smooth sailing.
Yeah.
Right. Like this was still roller skating down a gravel road in a lot of ways for the Florida Panthers until they got to this spot, and probably the biggest. Best, maybe as we look back on this era, most pivotal move was hiring Bill Zito.
Yeah, which is something I lobbied for a long time.
Not an experienced general manager.
No, every time there would be a GM opening, I was like, look, there's a guy in Columbus. He didn't follow the traditional path to where he is as assistant GM to Jarmo Kekalainen. He went from agent to the front office. No. And I said, this guy's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Hire this man. And I don't know if it was like the interviewing process or whatever it was, but he'd go out for jobs and not get them. And then Florida took a chance on him, and the rest is history. Now, he's got a pretty smart collection of people around him in the front office, too. Yeah. But, I mean, it's one of the reasons why I'm kind of like it would be fine either way. Like, if the Oilers win the Cup, Connor gets the Cup, it's fantastic. We don't have to ever talk about him not being a Cup champion again. But if Florida wins the Cup, it doubles down on what I think is one of the most meticulous, smart, bold at times construction of a championship team that we've seen. Like, again, they were this good last year, and then they put Seth Jones on their second pairing and Brad Marchand on their third line. Like, how do they keep getting away with it, folks? I mean, it's stunning to see. But, the Viola thing's interesting because, like, being down here, I'm reminded of those leaps and bounds for this franchise and its fan base. And I think one of the things that we're seeing now is that practice rink. Okay,
it's right down the street from my hotel. It's gorgeous.
Two
it's beautiful.
Sheets, great
it's beautiful.
Place. Bunch of kids playing every day, so you're going to start, there's going to be the Austin Matthews of Sunrise, Florida
100%.
in a few years where it's like, I came to hockey because I'm a Panthers fan. But they also have something that I think is a telltale sign of any franchise turning the corner. They have their own team store. And they have their own team store with a bunch of stuff that is very unique to you. You go inside, it is Hawaiian shirts with Panthers logos, lawn signs with Panthers logos.
Were you tempted to buy the Sam Bennett Team Canada shirt there?
No, I found that to be a fire hazard in the sense that if I had a lighter, I'd light it. No, the one thing that they have there, though, as you've probably seen and people online have probably seen, is they have the ice cream truck shirts now with the Panthers and the Dairy Queen and the whole thing.
So good.
It's wonderful when teams figure out what their fan bases want and cater to it. And if you walk in that team store in Florida, you're like, they finally understand the culture of the people paying to watch this team, and now they're very excited to buy stuff because the team won.
And they have a team that's fun to watch.
And they're fun, yeah.
They're a fun old school. It's like an old school vibe with new school skill. Okay, we're gonna hop into it here now. So, Daily Outline, presented as always by our friends at FanDuel. Make every moment more with North America's #1 sportsbook.
True to form, the intro is 17 minutes into the show.
FanDuel.
Some things never change.
8 minutes. Listen, I've been told plenty of times. Bad host. Cats get even. There's your headline leading to Game 3. It's now a best of 5. More Mitch Marner rumors, and we'll throw a couple of logs on that fire today as well. Game 3 Stanley Cup Final gets underway 8 o'clock Eastern right behind us right now. And the Sam Bennett effect everywhere, and perhaps most seen at the Combine. I was in Buffalo the last few days, and I'll tell you, there were a lot of, Brady Martin specifically, who's going to probably go really high.
Yeah.
And you could tell, like, this kid's real smart. When he was asked, which type of player he compares himself to.
Yeah.
Sam Bennett and Tom Wilson.
Yeah.
Like two of the most attractive commodities in the NHL right now.
You left one out. He also said Matthew Knies.
And Matthew Knies,
which
yes.
made
Just
me want
to scare Leafs fans.
Jump in the ocean and never return. That there are now kids going to get drafted this year saying, I look up to Matthew Knies.
I remember growing up watching Matthew Knies. Just surrender. It's all over. Now we're getting nostalgic about the early days of Matthew Knies. I want to start with a tweet today, and this comes to us, an old MVSW fan, Joe at Pucks and Bucks.
Hey now.
If Edmonton can't beat Florida this year, which will be the first Canadian city to build a climate-controlled beach dome where players can wear flip-flops all year and no media is allowed in? Now, I take exception to that. There is media here. It wasn't like years and years ago. There's Russo and then Richards, and like there is media.
It's volume
here
of
in
media,
Florida.
though.
They just have the volume.
Volume of media.
It was like when Joe Thornton went to San Jose and after his first practice, he was asking, "Well, where's all the media?" And someone said, "He's over there."
It's volume of media, and again, it's also like the intensity of coverage and things like that. Now, Joe, to answer your question, that will be very effective, and I think could definitely benefit Canadian teams if you can convince your politicians to create a no income tax zone around the housing around that dome. If you could do that, then you might have yourself something.
One of the big draws is to, and now, look, this is 5 years and the Stanley Cup is going through the state of Florida. I've had a couple players point this out to me as well. Like, the money thing is the money thing, and that's an obvious one.
Yeah.
But he said the other one that everyone in the media is missing out on is you forget how much better your body feels here. Like, you wake up in the morning, your body feels great. You get off the plane, you don't have to bundle up. You're not wearing big, heavy, warm boots and coats and shivering. Your teeth aren't chattering together. To the point about the shorts and the flops, like, yeah, because your body feels great.
Yeah.
So for recovery, for healing, just to have your body feel good through the grind of an 82-game season and then playoffs, it's much easier on your body, man.
When I wake up here, my body does not feel great, but I think that's life choices.
I was going to say, that has nothing to do with anything other
Taco
than
Bell Cantina after the elbow room kind of life choices.
Decisions.
But again, let's just deal with this now. Brad Marchand said the other day, and we wrote about it on ESPN.com, this idea of if he has 2 contracts in his hand and it's the same amount of money, he's going to pick the one from the tax-free state because he'll get more money that way. But also he went into a thing that, look, I don't think the tax thing is the reason why Vegas and Tampa and Florida have all been where they are.
You have to run a good team. You have to run a good team.
You have to want to play there.
Yeah.
You know who's in an annoying income tax?
Seattle.
No one wants to play for the Kraken right now. I'm sorry. Like, that's just how it is. So it's success. It's the quality of the organization. Marchand behind the scenes has praised the way he's been treated since he's been here and the facilities and the whole thing. But he did say something that I think is true, and I will score a point for our friends in Canada that bring up this issue as a point of disparity in the league, which is that when you are playing for these teams and they are successful, retention of talent, acquisition of talent is much easier because you haven't had to pay your own guys exorbitant money like teams in Canada and like teams in California have to do to retain them. And that's a very, very fair point. But ultimately, here's what I've heard about Marchand in free agency. He's just going to take the money. The team might not even matter. He's going to take the money. One, he kind of tipped his hand and said, "Hey, man, you never know who's getting in the playoffs or not getting in the playoffs. You never know who's going to rise up to be a contender." That's a man who's thinking about all options on the table. But he was underpaid in Boston. He never took a huge contract in Boston. He was a son of Patrice Bergeron in Boston. You take the money that you think you deserve, but nothing more than that for the betterment of the rest of the roster. But now I think in the last kick of the can for this guy contractually, he's going to strike it rich. He's going to take the biggest offer he's given.
I was wrong about something with him.
What's that?
I thought that the contract that he was on now is underpaid as it turned out to be because he was part of that group. Remember when everybody signed their $6 million contract, including Nathan McKinnon?
Yeah.
Everybody signed their $6 million deal, and we all went, what is going on here? And then within 2 years, we're like, everything's a bargain.
Yeah.
I thought that was going to be his big payday.
Nah.
And even this season, now, and he was injured. I'm like, oh, this isn't going to be good.
Yeah.
And then even Four Nations, like,
you're like,
I don't know.
Yeah.
But these playoffs, like, not only is he going to have another massive payday, at 37, he's getting a raise.
Yeah, he is.
Who's getting a raise at 37 in the NHL?
Someone who has 17 points in 19 playoff games or whatever it's been for him.
it.
It's insane. But and then on top of that, I mean, he's got think about, remember how the contract Alex Killorn got?
Yeah.
And what's that for? It's for 2 cups.
Yes.
I mean, that's what that contract is.
Come here and teach our kids how to play.
Yeah. Now,
come here and teach our kids how to be a professional.
Right.
That's what it's for.
So now imagine Marchand gets another ring this season, and that's 2 rings plus what he's done to the playoffs, plus being the NHL's leading agitator.
Yeah.
Like, that adds up to be a pretty hefty sum. Now, I don't know who'll sign him ultimately. I know everybody believes that the Leafs are just going to throw a ton of money at him to try to get that Marchand shine for the roster.
I believe that.
But I do think in having covered him for 2 rounds and talked to him about the future and stuff, I get the sense it's just going to be highest bidder.
I don't see anything wrong with that.
No, it's not.
He's on his way
make
out.
Your dough.
Grab every coin.
Yeah.
Grab every coin on your way out the door.
Yeah.
If you're Brad Marchand, because you're right. Like so many years, he was underpaid with the Boston Bruins.
And the Panthers have other priorities. They're going to sign Bennett.
I think so.
Okay.
I think at the end of it, I think Sam Bennett is that guy. Because listen, Darren Ferris is the agent for Cortex. He has a history of strongly believing and acting on the idea that you take your players to market.
Yeah.
To see where they're at. And I do also believe that the saying that if he does get to market, it's going to be a cattle auction. And you're going to see a lot. But to me, Sam Bennett I'm going to get there. I'm going to look around on July 1st, and then on July 2nd, I'm re-signing with the Florida Panthers. That's the way it feels to me.
I think so, too, because I mean, listen, they're going to have some things to address. I think Ekblad's leaving. But I think what they have up the gut right now with Barkov, Bennett, and Lundell, like, can't be repeated in the league. Like, they're so good up the middle.
Yeah.
It's kind of the foundation for everything they do. And it's hard for me to believe that if they have the opportunity to retain Bennett, and unless he just gets unbelievably priced out of Florida, it's hard for me to imagine he wants to leave. It's a good place to live.
Yeah.
It's a successful team. He's got Kachuk here. Like, I don't know. I feel like he stays, the other 2 go, is the way I see it playing out.
Ekblad's a fascinating one. Like the minute they brought in Seth Jones, I think everybody said, "Oh, there's Ekblad insurance."
Sure.
Right? Just like when the St. Louis Blues brought in Justin Falk, we all went, "Oh, that's Alex Pietrangelo insurance."
Sure.
And sure enough, Alex Pietrangelo left.
Yeah.
And listen, I don't think things are looking great right now for Alex Pietrangelo's health with the Vegas Golden Knights. And that could open up a lot of cap space either to just re-sign Nick Hague or sign Nick Hague and maybe have a swing at the Mitch Marner pinata. You want to do that one?
You want to do Marner right now?
Let's
go.
Okay,
let's go.
Let's do Marner. I mean, everyone's written their think pieces. Everyone's had their podcasts where they've talked about where they think Marner is going to end up. I tend to sort of do Occam's razor with these types of things, and that's why I just keep saying Carolina. They have the space. They have the desire. Everybody knows. They tried to. Carolina tried to get him from Mikko Rantanen. To me, it just makes sense. I think it's a fit stylistically as well. I think he plays the way Rod Brindamore likes his players to play. Vegas will take a swing. I think Chicago will take a swing as well. I think a lot of teams.
LA.
I think LA is another really good one. But where are you on the Marner phenomenon here?
First of all, as you can hear, they're doing some pregame stuff behind us.
Yeah, all the secrets of the
I can
game
report
presentation.
McDavid appears to be in the lineup tonight for the Oilers. That's exciting news. I mean, I think the family part of it is the determining factor. I really do. Like, where do they want to raise a kid? Where does his partner want to live?
Yep.
And so then you come back to places like Vegas, where they're going to have ambassadors from Vegas to say, hey, this is an amazing place to raise a family. You're going to have people from LA saying the same thing. Does he ultimately want to live in Raleigh for the next 7 years of his life is the question. And it's not that again, that's not me saying that no one wants to. Players resign there all the time. I've spent time there. I love it there. But that's a decision that Marner and his family are going to have to make too.
Do you have the Chaos City for Mitch Marner?
The chaos situation for Marner is he signs in Edmonton.
Nope.
Where?
Ottawa is the Chaos City for Mitch Marner. And don't put it, like I talked to someone a couple weeks ago, it's like, don't put it, like Michael Andlauer, the owner there, is intensely competitive.
Yeah.
And likes big stories like that.
Yeah.
I don't think that it happens.
No.
But if you want to do the cheer for the chaos story, Ottawa's the chaos story.
You say Carolina. What percentage would you put on Mitch playing in the West next year?
Playing where?
In the West.
Ooh. I think it would depend on the team.
Yeah.
Travel's tougher. I always look at players and say, like, okay, yeah, on your first contract, the West is good. Second contract, sure. But by the time you get to the third contract, you really start to think about things like travel.
How are you feeling about Chicago?
I feel like that would be a move that wouldn't pay off right away for the Chicago Blackhawks. I don't think the rest of the team is ready for a Mitch Marner yet.
That's Panarin to the Rangers. That's like you don't believe Marner's going to be there.
Panarin was
when
there
you are ready
before they were
right.
good.
So you don't think Marner's going to be there by the time you're ready to contend. So you get him now. That would be the thing. I've said it before on the show. Like, I think that Marner needs to go where there's already a veteran core in place. No one's going to look for him to be the guy. He can kind of just settle in, find his footing, play well in the playoffs, not feel the crusher pressure. And to me, that's either LA or Vegas. LA and Vegas both have veteran cores, guys that are going to be there for a while. The pressure will not be on him to be anything other than just be the Mitch Marner you've been in the regular season. When it comes to playoff time, you have players that can drive the bus. And you don't have to get behind the wheel in the same way he did in Toronto.
You know who's always looked for offense and has never been able to draft it, trade for it, sign it in free agency?
Minnesota?
Nashville.
Yeah. I mean, sure.
Now, I know they want it down the middle, and they've had a hard time getting centers, and that's been the story from pretty much day one with the Nashville Predators. Great place to live. Guys love it there. Now,
where are you on Utah?
I think Utah is going to be one of the most interesting teams, both on July 1st and at the draft with that fourth overall choice. If they make it, there's a lot swirling around Brady Martin, which might be one of those, the first shock at the draft. If that happens, I think they could also flip picks. with teams. And I do think that they're going big game hunting on July 1st.
See, this is what's fun about Marner. We haven't had this in so long. Like,
oh, I know.
Tavares was going to Toronto. Like, when was the last time we had this? Brad Richards?
Brad Richards, everyone lining up at
When
the
everybody
office in
everybody made
Mississauga.
their pitches.
Everybody had big briefcases.
Their briefcases. Everybody made their DVDs.
Newport Sports.
To play for Brad Richards to attract him to their team. Like, it's been a while since we had this.
Yeah, this is actually, I talk about Sam Bennett, but this is the cattle auction.
Oh, yeah. Easily.
Marner's a cattle auction in this one.
I saw Myrtle somebody said on The Athletic that it's like a 2% chance that Marner stays in Toronto. Would you give it more than 2%, or would you say it's like 2%?
Jeez, I don't know. I think it's done.
Okay, so the 0% chance.
I think that if his heart was stay in there, again, this is the agent Darren Ferris too, who, go to market, see what's out there, then make your decision.
Yeah.
It's kind of like anyone that tells me that, Dallas is going to go out and sign Gerard Gallant as their next coach. It's like, well, if they wanted, they could have done that by now.
Right.
That quickly. And if Marner wanted that much to stay in Toronto, it would be done by now.
It would be done by now.
So I might actually give it less than 2% chance.
Like a minus percent chance.
I always you gotta leave room for in case it does happen.
Right, exactly.
But
Haley's Comet.
something.
I mean, like, it could happen, right? Austin makes a tearful plea to him, holds the boombox outside of Mitch's house. Stay.
No, you know what? But you know what? Like once upon a time in the NHL, and maybe even in some scenarios, this does happen where the players will make that impassioned pitch.
Yeah.
I think guys, don't you get the feeling that guys now are just like, nah, man, that's your business. Go do it. Go do it. Go get your bag.
Reinhart, I think it was Reinhart and Forsling were asked about that the other day in a press conference. Like, what would be your pitches to Marchand for him to stay? And I'm just like, A, they don't care. It's totally the player's decision. And B, like, I don't know, Beach, Cup,
Yeah.
like Zito, Maurice. Like, I mean, like, what pitches do they have to make to try to retain a player?
They
Yeah.
love you here.
Yeah, exactly. You're here with your family, the Rats.
The rats. Oh,
exactly.
The rat thing is so fun.
I know.
The rat thing is just flat out fun. It's
No,
good.
I think Marchand and Marner both leave. I think Bennett stays. It's going to be a really fun free agency because the cap's gone up. We know where it's going a couple of years from now. There's going to be a lot of retention of players, but I think there's going to be a lot of movement too. But look, there used to be a time when like UFAs were voodoo, but now I think you can see the path to where populating your team smartly with UFAs can lead you to a cup.
Given that the cap is going up starting this summer and then taking another massive jump.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden there's going to be plenty of space here. Do you think then that this might be, at least in the short term, the last shot we have at offer sheets for a while?
Oh, Jesus. What are you, write for The Athletic?
No, I'm serious.
Offer sheets again?
I'm serious. Well, listen, we kept saying, oh, no offer did ever happen. And then, St. Louis happened with Holloway and Broberg.
Yeah, what we need to do is find a general manager that hates Stan Bowman like Doug Armstrong does and wants to get rid of two of his players from the team. I never believe the offer sheet thing. It takes two to tango. A lot of hockey players, by their very nature, are ones that don't want to rock the boat with an offer sheet. Like, it's done sometimes because they're convinced that the offers aren't going to come. Like, that's why Aho signed with Montreal. Like, it was a tactical thing to get the money he was looking for. But I mean, how many of those situations are we going to? I mean, like Nyes. Like, are we going to see someone like him sign an offer sheet?
Don't scare Maple Leafs fans.
No.
To hang on to right now, and they love this kid. Yeah, Zach.
I haven't heard a damn thing from producer Zach the entire show, and then just heard no in my ear.
Yeah,
I brought up Nyes on an offer sheet.
If you want to tear a scab off right now with Maple Leafs fans, just start talking about Nyes and getting fit for a Penguins jersey or something like that. Just to have them go snake.
What about Marner to the Penguins? We need to talk about that one. Marner to the Penguins.
Can't.
Why?
Because this is the rebuild now.
Okay.
This is officially now the rebuild with this coach and getting exiting out Malkin, exiting out Letang, exiting out Crosby eventually here. Like you and I have talked about. There's a reason that Kyle Dubas got a 7-year contract, not a 4, not a 5.
Right.
Because anyone who took this job, Eric Tulsky was up for this job. Right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of people were up for this job. the deal was not that you have to spin your wheels, but you're not going to be able to do what you want because Fenway wants these guys to retire as Penguins. You're not going to be able to do what you want for 4 years. You cannot expect the general manager to sign a 5-year deal and then have ownership say, it's a 5-year deal and you can't do anything for 4.
So here's the question I have about Pittsburgh. Do they fix the lottery for them next year to get McKenna? Or do they have to wait a couple more years for the next generational talent?
Right.
Like, because I feel like there's expediency to fixing it for them next year, because then maybe he gets 1 year with Sid.
Doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Pittsburgh's going to be interesting at the draft, too.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like Pittsburgh's one of those teams that wants to move up. Like, we always talk about, this year's going to be crazy at the draft and all these trades. And then everybody goes and makes their picks.
Have you talked about your time at the Combine yet?
I was doing the show live from the Combine.
Let me talk about some of these kids that I met today.
Okay.
Schaefer.
Oh, skates like Jay Bouwmeester. Like, honestly, Greg, when you see him, a lot of people, like, right away, just because of the Otters jersey, looked at it, and he's a magnificent skater. They go like, oh, yeah, it looks like Jamie Drysdale. No, you're saying that because they both played for the Otters. But, like, put him in a Medicine Hat Tigers jersey. He's Jay Bouwmeester. Yeah. He skates like that. It's phenomenal, Greg. Like honestly, head to me, head and shoulders, and I think for a lot of scouts, head and shoulders above everybody.
He's never going to be like this again, I don't think. I think probably like Patrick Waugh will scare the crap out of him and he'll clam up. But when that kid talks, it's incredible. Like, I've never seen a prospect who, A, knows himself like Schaefer, B, spins the tales he spins about the hardships in his life, like losing his mother.
And his billet mom,
And his billet mom.
Same year.
But then also has,
and
like...
then his owner with the Erie Otters.
Who had a
Mr.
heart attack,
was like
right?
the nicest man in the world.
Yeah.
I met him when we were both in radio. Him at a obviously different level than mine. But, like, there's been, like, he's had, like, put it this way, Schaefer's had to grow up really fast.
And there's a maturity to him.
100%.
But he's also, like, really funny. Like, he told the story today about when he met Connor McDavid when McDavid had his jersey
Erie Otters,
retired with the Erie Otters, and he said he meets McDavid and says, "Hey, good job." That's incredible. What a story. He was a delight. And then we talked to Higgins for a while.
Yep.
Who, by the way, is starting to see the bumper stickers around Long Island saying that the Islanders should draft Higgins, and
they'd have to
tripping
trade
him out.
down. Like, just I get the story. I know it. But
you think they should trade down?
No, I don't. I think they should take Matthew Schaefer.
They have to take Schaefer.
Take Matthew Schaefer and just like don't walk up to the stage. Like, run to the microphone. Yeah. Right. Matthew Darsh, here's your chance. Like, this is your first big moment here. Run to the microphone.
Yeah.
And say Matthew Schaefer for the Erie Otters.
I was talking to Higgins today, and two things really stood out for me. The first is that I was delighted to hear that he's a child of the Coliseum. He's not a child of Barclays. He's not a child of UBS. He's a child of the Coliseum.
That's coming.
His formative years as an Islanders fan were going to the Coliseum and experience. Like, he said his first playoff series was against Pittsburgh, which probably dates it to the Tristan Jarry meltdown series against the Islanders,
smokes.
right?
Okay, yeah. Huh.
The other thing was great. Someone asked him with the acknowledgement that he could still go to the Islanders, but maybe you're not. So what is it going to be like the first time you play the Islanders? And he's just like, he's kind of like dancing around how weird it's going to be and just kind of talking about, like, all my loyalties will be the team I play with. And that makes sense because it's the team that pays you. But then someone said, and I never thought about this, for all of the kids growing up and being passionate about the teams that they followed and then not getting drafted by those teams and then playing them, like the kid who grew up a Habs fan. What's it like the first time you play the Habs?
Montreal made that mistake by taking Louis LeBlanc.
Right.
Remember Louis LeBlanc?
I do.
Yes, first round.
Okay, so...
And they were applauded. They were loved by Habs fans.
That's not the question we should be asking. The question we should be asking is, hey, James Higgins, what's it going to be like the first time you play the Rangers? That's the fascinating question. Like, we know it's going to be awkward as an Islander fan to play the Islanders, but you've grown up your entire life loathing the New York Rangers. It is part of your personality that you hate the New York Rangers. What is that going to be like?
I'm always interested in the kid. I'm glad you mentioned this. I'm always interested in the kid that grew up a fan of, I don't know, pick a team like the Montreal Canadiens and gets drafted by the Boston Bruins.
Yeah, right, yeah.
That's the one I'm always
It's always fascinating.
I love it.
I like the Higgins kid, too. He's good.
He's
good.
Kids are
great.
Like honestly, again, I always come shy of agreeing with everybody when they say, "Oh, it's a bad draft. Oh, it's a bad draft." They're 17.
Yeah.
Like we don't know. There's the drafting piece and then there's developing piece. And I want to get to that when we talk about Dallas here in a second. But there were so you talked to Higgins, you talked to Schaefer.
Yeah, Misa.
You talked to Mike. What did you think of Misa?
I didn't get a chance to talk to him.
Okay, I like.
But
him.
he was there.
I like him a lot.
Yeah.
Like you want goals? Like he's going to San Jose.
Yeah.
He's going to San Jose. Yeah. It's not going to be this year, and it's not going to be next year. Like one of these years, San Jose is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
San Jose is going to be flat.
Wait, they're already fun.
Jacob,
they're fun bad.
No, you know what's good? You know what I liked about San Jose? Well, we'll see because we had the same feeling about Chicago 2 years ago, and then this year was like they were a tough watch.
Yeah.
I just wonder if San Jose is like 1 year behind.
You got a Floridian fruit fly loving you, buddy.
Here, I'm just going to try to. Man, my reaction time is all slow now. The hands go first. The hands go first. All the pros are right.
A 30-year-old Jeff Marek would have snagged that thing with chopsticks like Mr. Miyagi.
It was back in 2015, and we were blondies. Would have grabbed that fruit fly, no problem. No, what was I talking about?
We were talking about Misa. Oh, the Sharks.
The Sharks.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're just 1 year behind Chicago. Because I loved watching them this year because there were moments in every San Jose we talked about this. In every game, we're like, okay, that's what it's going to be like. But you just don't see 3 periods of it. I wonder if next year is going to be the grind year where it's like, oh, man, San Jose is a tough watch. Oh, man, what happened to all that fun that we had last year with Celebrini and Will Smith and all this is good and Shakir Mukhamadullin and he's good and he's big.
You go from young and dumb to being like, okay, I'm ready to be in the playoffs now and we can't get there. Kind of feeling, right?
That's what I wonder.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's what I wonder about. Let me ask you about Dallas. So the Texas Stars were eliminated in the American Hockey League semifinal last night by Abbotsford.
Man,
okay.
Tough hang for the organization, falling short of expectations on all levels.
Jeez, that's snug. So. There's a okay. I'm going. What I'm about to say here is not informed by any conversations with anyone in the organization.
Okay.
This is just spitballing.
Okay.
Just looking at the situation and just saying, okay, I think this is going to happen, or I think that is going to happen.
Okay. You haven't received a text that says,
I have not,
"Don't go there."
Watch this. Pay attention to this guy. Okay. Thanks. So. All the assistants have been retained in Dallas.
Yes.
Even Steve Spott.
Which is a surprise.
Which is a surprise.
Right.
And I don't know if he's really going to stay because him and Pete DeBoer have always been
boys.
Chocolate and peanut butter. Like this is like Gerard Gallant and Mike Kelly. They're together. There's a reason all the assistants are there. Right, Elaine Nasruddin, Misha Donskoff. Like, there's a reason there are veteran people on that bench still. I don't know if he gets the big chair, but I'm getting warmer to the idea that Neil Graham, who's the Texas Stars coach, even as a rookie, gets this one based on the feeling. I've had people in Dallas talk to me about how good Neil and how well he's been in the organization for like 15 years, ECHL, AHL. I'm warmer and warmer to the idea that he gets the big chair. And I'll go you one step further. They know, because I think teams have called to ask him if they can talk to Graham about being on the bench as an assistant coach to run the power play, for example. I think that there are people there who look at Neil Graham and say, we don't want to give up on someone who could turn out to be John Cooper 2.0 or Jared Bednar 2.0.
Just because of the AHL success?
No, here's the other part of it. Do you think, and this is no disrespect, Joe McDonnell, who heads up the amateur scouting for the Dallas Stars, do you think that they're all just geniuses and they all just pick the perfect players? Or do you think development had a major hand?
Do you think Stankoven and Wyatt Johnston are like the products of?
Not Wyatt Johnston, because he went right to the NHL.
Right, but like Stankoven.
I'm not saying products of.
Harley.
But I'm saying it's there's the identifying and then there's the development, and we always ignore the development, and we just say, "Oh, the scouts missed on that guy. Scouts missed on this guy. Scouts missed on this." But one of the biggest pieces here is the development. And again, no offense to everyone that selected these players, But do you just think that they always just made the perfect choice, or is there something else at play here? And is that thing that's at play how good of a coach Neil Graham is?
Let's talk about the pickle the Stars are in. Okay, they made a coaching change at a point in which all of the people have been hired. Okay, and the coaching pool that's left is your Jay Woodcroft. It's your Peter Laviolette. Your Gerard Gallant. I mean, these were retreads that don't really get you all that excited. Although the idea that you have one year to win and you bring in Peter Laviolette, I've heard worse ideas. But to your point, the thing that they had to weigh as a counterbalance towards firing Pete DeBoer was, do we really want to risk the regular season success and playoff revenue that we have been generating with this franchise as Pete DeBoer as coach? And they made the decision that, yes, we probably will risk it because he just shanked our goalie in a post-season press conference.
I think there's more to it than just that. But that didn't help.
But that didn't help. So, no. It was also all of the exit interviews saying, we've got problems with this guy and it's systemic and we need to make a change. But to your point, if your concern is maintaining the levels of success that you've had, then you want a succession plan rather than going outside the organization and getting somebody. And so is it Neil Graham? Is it Donskoff getting the job after having served on Team Canada at the Four Nations?
Done that. If that's what they wanted, they could have already done that.
Well, I think they're probably weighing their options. It doesn't mean they have to pull the trigger on something immediately. But I kind of agree with you that they'll end up staying within the organization. But I'll throw one more name at you. And I don't know if he'd leave because I know he's very tight with the best player in the world, and that is Glenn Gulutzan. Familiarity with the organization.
Yeah.
He has paid his dues as an assistant.
Yeah.
Clearly one of these guys that would be better in his next gig than he was in the previous gig.
Okay.
And if they win, hey, guess what? You got a guy that cracked the code. He's got a ring. He'll know how to lead you to the promised land, to the conference finals.
Okay, so here's the other thing I was thinking of, and I'll get back to Gulutzan because I'll ask you a question that is going to be informed by this point that I'm trying to make.
Please. I like when Marek
let's
previews his points.
Yes.
It's like seeing a movie trailer
like
before getting an opinion.
It's back to my radio days. Always be hooking. Just hook
Coming
the
up
audience.
next,
Hook the audience.
I'll tell you why Glenn Gulutzan, blah, 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 because blah, 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 after the break.
That's right. So you look at I look at Dallas, and it's been like incredible pendulum swings in style.
Right.
Remarkable. So let's go back to Lindy Ruff.
Yeah.
Lindy Ruff had 6-5 games. Those games were 6-5.
Yeah.
Pendulum swing, Ken Hitchcock, 2-1 games.
By the way, only 73, in case you Dallas fans are interested in that, revisiting that coaching regime again.
And then they're looking for something a little bit in between. Thought they had it with Jim Montgomery, and then the Jim Montgomery situation happened. They went to Rick Bowness, and it was back to 2-1 games.
Right.
And then it was, well, they wanted to get Cassidy, but he chose Vegas.
Right.
And they went to Peter DeBoer.
Peter DeBoer.
And it's back to 6-5 games.
Yeah.
So to me, if you're looking to see who the next Dallas Stars coach is, because this is what they've been looking for, but instead they've had these wild pendulum swings. Give me the coach that can coach somewhere in between a 6-5 game
Oh, man.
and a 2-1
See,
game.
I really thought you were going someplace.
Who's that guy who can coach in between a 2-1 and a 6-5 game?
Do you have a name in mind?
No, I don't.
Because I thought you were going to go, they're going to swing back to defense.
I was going to say Bruce Cassidy, but he's Vegas.
If they're going to swing back to defense, there's only one answer. I'm telling you, Brooksy, I'm going to Dallas.
Oh, jeez. I don't know that organization will do that right now.
Imagine?
Honestly, the more that the time goes on here, we'll see. Like Neil Graham, like his team just got eliminated yesterday.
Yeah.
The more that I think about it,
like-
I honestly just knowing how well he's thought of in there,
Mm-hmm.
and that if they don't make a move with him now, someone else will.
Yeah. See, and again,
Neil Graham's going somewhere.
you follow the breadcrumbs. They retain the entire assistant coaching staff.
Yeah.
They want to maintain it. And again, like the thing that that Jim Nill said wasn't we've got to reinvent the wheel here. It's we've got to find a different voice. Well, if you like the way things are going and you want to maintain the success within the organization, and you've kept the support structure in place with your assistant coaches, then obviously what you just need is a head coach with a different voice, and that could easily be Neil Graham.
Okay, so we solved that.
All right, great.
All right, then.
Jim Mill, finder's fee.
Tight.
We're gonna split the finder's fee for telling you to hire a coach you already have on the payroll.
Already have on payroll. Remember, there's no I in team, but there's 2 I's in invoice.
That's right.
Dallas, you'll be getting one from
I never
us
really
here.
heard that before.
Yeah. It's,
Anytime I hear something new from you, I get very excited.
There's no I in team, but 2 I's in invoice. You
Mm-hmm.
don't think I've used that one before? Oh, one thing that I wanted to make sort of cheeky. Going back to the draft talk.
Yes, please.
From Buffalo. Just having a conversation. First of all, Brady Martin has become like the belle of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Brady Martin, farm kid from Elmira. He's not going to the draft. He won't be there. He'll be on the farm because he's working that day.
Oh my God! What is he? An honorary Sutter?
He's amazing. That's right. It's not Viking now. It's Elmira.
Yeah.
The big farm is in Elmira. It's not Viking Alberta anymore. But so he plays with the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds. Now, so you think to yourself, okay, that's the guy that Dubas is going to try to get,
right?
Because all things Sault sort of gravitate towards
The
Kyle
Wheat
Dubas.
Kings go to Vegas. The Greyhounds go to Pittsburgh.
But as someone reminded me, Porter Martone of the Brampton Steelheads, his father is from Sault Ste. Marie, and who did Kyle Dubas put on the World Championship team for Team Canada this year? Porter Martone. Now, Pittsburgh's drafting 11th. They're not going to get Brady Martin. They're not going to get Porter Martone. Does that put Kyle Dubas in that position where, as many of us believe, Pittsburgh's going to try to trade up?
You know, that's a very interesting question, and
It's just a Sault Ste. Marie question.
I'll answer it by saying this. The Stanley Cup Final is not done yet, which means that I have not yet become a fake draft expert.
Is this like during lockouts when we all become actuaries?
That's right.
And we know everything about pensions
It is
somehow?
It is my favorite thing about the draft, where as soon as the Cup Final is over, I go from knowing the first 4 guys to knowing the entire first round. I put out a mock draft. I'm like, they're clearly taking Latvian replacement player at 14.
Do you know how much managers just love it when people just sort of drop in 2 weeks before the draft? Great. Become experts.
They love it. Oh my God! And then
What are they thinking?
And at the draft, they're like, "Come on!" I know, it's fantastic. It's my favorite thing.
It's good. Let's get to tonight's game.
Oh.
The Sheet, ladies and gentlemen, as you well know, is powered by FanDuel, home of the same game parlay. Make every moment more on FanDuel. FanDuel, proud to connect fans to the major sports moments that matter to them. When you hear,
Should I put out my hot pick for our friends at FanDuel?
What do you got?
My hot take?
What's your hot take?
Reinhardt over 2.5 shots. Book it. I'm telling you, man. He is the leader in per game shot attempts at home on the Panthers. He went from being a broken down shell of a man in the Carolina series to having, I think, 6 shots last game in Edmonton. One of them, he would have had.
When he did that juggling routine in front of Stuart Skinner.
Would have had 7 if it weren't for a little whoopsie-doo on the breakaway in overtime. But yeah, I like Reinhardt tonight. I think I'm very interested to see how Paul Maurice, I almost got real Brooklyn on you. Paul Maurice utilizes the Barkov line. Does he try to get them an advantageous start against the 4th line at Edmonton, or is it just strictly going to be line matching the McDavid line tonight? Because Barkov's no points, -4 so far.
Yep. So here's the other one then. Sam Bennett, no goals tonight.
Oh, I like that.
You know why?
Why?
Because they're playing at home.
Yeah, and he doesn't score at home.
Sam is the freak. He just scores on the road.
Yeah.
Which, when you think about it from a strategic free agent point of view,
Yeah. It's kind of hard to get a handle on what the Panthers are offensively at home. Like, because on the road, they've been a steamroller.
Yeah.
And then at home, you look at their numbers, and like Verhaeghe's got 4 points in 7 games. They all seem to have like 4 points in 7 games. Basically, all these guys on the Panthers. So who knows? But do you? So let me get philosophical here for a second. So do you think inherently that the Oilers needed to be up 2-0 in the series to win the series?
No, I don't.
Okay.
No, I do. Do you?
Not completely, but I do think that this game tonight.
You know, they were down 2-0 after the first 2 games last year.
Yes, I understand
after
that.
the first 3.
This is a better Panthers team than the one they played last year. And I understand people will say, "Oh, look at the first round too." Again, that's the LA Kings. They look across, they see the crest, and they're just like, "We've got this." I I feel like tonight is essential though for the Oilers, because I don't necessarily think that you want to be in a position where your back's against the wall in a game 4. And I know you're going to say, well, they rallied last year. Sure, whatever. I think they win tonight. They're in good shape. I think they lose tonight. They're in a lot of trouble. I hate. I mean, it's game 3, right, of 7.
I don't know about
but
that,
that's
man.
kind of how I'm feeling about them right now.
I look at this team, look at this Oilers team, and I don't see any panic anywhere.
Okay.
When have you seen the Oilers panic this year at all? Like, even during those stretches where they were, let's be blunt about it, like there were times this year if the Edmonton Oilers were awful. Never a panic from anywhere.
Right.
Like anywhere in the organization, on the ice, behind the bench, in the front office, like nowhere. I was just like, this is fine.
Yeah.
Everything's going to be fine. The only panic, I think, is if this is like the night that Skinner gives up 6.
That would be a problem.
Maybe. But like,
I don't think it's going to happen.
They've been through all of this.
Yeah, and they've lost.
Yeah, in Game 7.
This is exactly why I said that the Panthers are the perfect Oilers countermeasure, because everyone else that they've played starts flailing when the Oilers get it cranked up. Vegas wasn't even in the series.
Yeah.
Dallas knew they won Game 1 on a fluke. The Kings, the minute Jim Hiller lost the series for them, then they lost their minds. The Panthers are never going to be intimidated by McDavid or Draisaitl or anything the Edmonton Oilers do, and that's what makes them the perfect opponent for this team.
This is really interesting. Maybe the answer is Florida. Is there a team that's better at taking punches than the Florida Panthers?
No.
Like they're that fighter that can be on the ropes and just get pounded, like Foreman pounded Ali on the ropes over and over and over again, only to see Ali come back and win.
And then when they get their moment, they capitalize on it. The last 5 wins they've had in the playoffs, they've had a moment in which they scored 2 goals in 4 minutes.
Let me ask you.
Like, that's insane.
Let me ask you about that double overtime winner we saw on Friday. That's Skinner, right?
He kind of lost the puck a little bit.
Yeah.
But when you're going to play the shot, when you're going to play the shot and then he loses the puck a little bit, I don't know. I guess so. I guess you could say it's. I'll say this: it's certainly not Bouchard. I was talking to somebody on the radio this morning that was trying to put it on Bouchard on the back check. I'm like, first of all, are we still doing the Erik Karlsson shame gifts for for Evan Bouchard like we did last year? Because I think he's gotten a lot better defensively.
Yeah.
And 2, it's double overtime. The fact that he even drew even with Marchand on the breakaway was a testament to how hard he was playing, because everybody's gassed at that point. People forget before the there was a moment in double overtime before the Marchand goal where I'm like, oh my God, we're going to be here until next week.
Yeah.
The way that they were like playing ping pong with the puck. So you could put it on Skinner, sure, that's fine.
Are you part of the camp that says this is Connor McDavid's legacy on the line here?
No, because I don't think this is going to be the last time he plays for the Cup. Do you?
I don't know. I don't. It's really hard to get back here.
The thing about
really honestly,
sure.
it's so hard to get back.
But the thing about
here.
legacy is that, like it's not going to be his fault if they lose.
Oh, I know. Listen, I get that.
Right.
Hockey's a team sport. Like, it wasn't like Joe Thornton's fault that the San Jose Sharks never won, or Marcel Dion's fault that the Kings never won.
It's more their fault. Like, here's the thing. Like, when Ovechkin won, it was important because, rightly or wrongly, he received a lion's share of the blame for the Capitals not advancing past the second round. When the Leafs don't succeed, it's kind of turned a little bit for Matthews, where now he's getting the criticism for them not succeeding. It's the unique thing about Connor is that I don't think it's ever his fault, nor will it ever be his fault. And so I've thought about this a lot. Like, I want him to win a cup just so we don't have to have the conversation. But I think when we have the conversation, if he doesn't win, if he retires and he's in the same sentence as Gretzky as far as like most dominant offensive players in the history of hockey, like ultimately where we'll fall on this is, well, it's kind of like the teams he played for his fault. It's not Connor's fault. Connor did everything he could. He won an MVP in a losing effort, for God's sakes. Like, I kind of feel like he might get a pass in a way that other legendary players who didn't win have not gotten passes. Does that make sense?
It does. And let me throw it to the other side then. if Florida doesn't win the Cup here, I know they've been to the final here 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
Did they just become a team that just won one Cup?
They become Boston. Right? They become the Bergeron, Marchand, Chara Bostons. That's what they become. And that's fine because Boston's considered to be one of the most successful teams of the last 15 years. But
here's the thing that they're not. Here's why I think this is so important for Florida. And again, this is just an in-state thing, like an in-province thing.
Oh, because Tampa won twice?
Yeah.
All right.
Do you not, listen, this is 5 years now the Stanley Cup's gone through this state.
Mm-hmm.
And Tampa won too.
I mean, there are lightning truthers that say those are fake cups because they happened during COVID.
Just like there are Devil's truthers
Don't
about
you?
the half cup, the 48-game cup.
Son of a bitch. I come on your show. I make time on my busy day to come sit in a suite and talk to you. And you're going to bring up 95. Look, I think it's actually really important that they win for the very thing that we talked about off the top of the show, which is the momentum in the market. If they don't win, though, they weren't going to win the first year. Tkachuk was hurt. He was out of the series. He was the reason that they were there, and he was out of the series. So you can't fault him for the Vegas series. You could definitely fault him if they lose here, because I think that they are better than they were last year and have every opportunity to win this series. But, I mean, if ultimately the fate of this team is Tkachuk breaks his sternum one year, and then Connor and Leon are healthy and only had to play 5 games in the previous round.
Yeah.
And then they beat you. What ultimately is the legacy of the Panthers? You had bad luck in the first year, and you got beat by the 2 best players in the world in the third year. And you can't get too bent out of shape about that.
I always wonder how much. Let's say that this is it, and this is the last Stanley Cup for the Florida Panthers, and then they just go on to be a good team for a while.
Okay.
I always wonder how far that wave casts. How long do the fumes last
for the fans in the home market?
Yeah.
Do you think that the Tampa fans are still on a contact high?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So now we know it's at least 4 years.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I was talking to my Uber driver on the way to the rink today, and we were having this conversation. And he's not the biggest hockey fan, but it's I'm starting to get into hockey in the last few years. I'm like, yeah, teams winning Stanley.
What happened in the last
Stanley
few years?
Cup,
All of a sudden, hockey.
Driving by the practice facility, I'm like, this thing's gorgeous. It's like we were talking earlier, and he's talking about going to games, and people love it, and it's so much fun. And I was like, what happens if they don't get to the Stanley Cup Final every year? I'm just curious. And it's different for every market, but how long does it last?
It's fine.
How long does this shine? But
then it refreshes to the chase, though.
You've established this market, though.
Yeah.
That's what I keep saying about everyone in the friends in the States who complain about the TV ratings. I get it. Hockey's not a national sport yet in the United States, but look what it's done for this market.
Yeah.
This team has made new hockey fans. You know how many new hockey fans the Edmonton Oilers run has made? 0.
This was always your expansion argument.
Right?
Yeah.
0 hockey fans.
Yeah.
Not a slight against them. They're, Canadian hockey fans. And but the Florida Panthers have made new hockey fans.
Here's the interesting thing about this series in the States. And I don't know, it's hard for me to have this conversation as a rights holder because, we're part of that conversation. But shouldn't the pitch have been, this is the bad boy Pistons against the Jordan Bulls? Isn't that the pitch? Isn't that the casual fan pitch?
Wow.
Of just the one team, the punch you in the mouth and abuse you team, win by any means necessary, Rodman, John Sally, that Bill Lambier. Isn't that what it is basically, is the irresistible force versus the immovable object? The antidote to the best player in the world is this bunch of thugs from Florida. That to me is the selling point of the series. And I don't know if it's necessarily been pitched to the casual fan that way.
But here's the problem. That works if Edmonton's the defending Stanley Cup champion.
Right.
And it's the bad boy Panthers that
Right.
knock down the slick Leon Draisaitl, Connor
We're gonna
McDavid,
take
best
yeah,
players in the
then you get
game.
Boston, Vancouver. You get the blue collar punch you in the face 7 times guys against Vancouver, which by the way had those guys too, but they were mostly the Sedin's team at that point.
By the way, that Luongo tweet on Friday was
It's
one of the most
amazing.
funny. I've always told you I've always wanted to do the Hockey Twitter Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
That goes in.
it's in there.
That
His
goes
whole Twitter is probably in there. First ballot.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. We're released. And we made it without too many
The
distractions.
show's over? God, it's always amazing to me how
1 hour.
this breezes by when I talk to you.
We have things to do, like drink coffee and talk about rumors.
I'm on TV tonight. I'm on SportsCenter tonight.
Is that why you've done your tie-up so nicely? And if Karen Douglas is watching, the thing before we went on, Greg said something along the lines of, I hope Karen Douglas is watching today so she can...
No, the gripe is going to be I only have a black jacket because most of my stuff is I dress like I'm a pallbearer half the time I go to these games. But like, I think this tie is of a high quality. If no one has asked,
It's a nice tie.
no, and then I got to go. I'm on the international pregame show for ESPN for
So
our
with
friends.
Weeksy?
No, with Arda actually.
Oh, with Arda, nice.
So the people in Australia will know what's going on with the Cup Final. That's a fun one to do.
I'm
Did I
always...
tell my Bettman story yet?
No, what's your bet?
Do we have time?
It's the internet.
Okay. So I'm getting ready to do the hit on the international show
Yeah.
the other day, and I'm standing right outside the gates of Rogers Place,
Yep.
where all the fans are. I'm standing there with my little mic flag. Here I am, Johnny journalist, getting ready to go on the air, and all of a sudden, I feel this bear hug behind me,
Yeah.
and I hear, "Are we on the air?" It was Bettman. Bettman gave me a bear hug from behind and
No
said,
way.
"Are we on the air?" And I said, "No, unfortunately, we're not on the air yet." And he goes, "That's too bad." And he just keeps walking. I'm like, I'm so confused. I thought you hated me. I think
Wow.
he's a stinker. Like, that's the thing about Bettman that people who haven't talked to him
But look at-
and interact with him know. He's a bit of a stinker. Like, you could see it in the press conferences when he gets a little bit of the gleam in his eye and tries to
He likes
have
to
one
spar.
over on the media.
He
Like,
likes to. He likes to. But you know
he's
what
a
though?
stinker.
But at the same time, like, honestly, think about Gary Bettman right now. He's about to do the cleanest CBA
Yeah.
that he's done since he took over in 1993 from Gil Stein.
Mm-hmm.
No acrimony.
Yeah.
He's outside of the rink in Edmonton. The biggest star in the game is about to play.
Yeah.
And the place is packed and the city's turning itself upside down.
So he's high on his own supply at this point.
And they've popped the Florida market too.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Yeah.
And they're talking about $2 billion for expansion money.
Yeah.
Like, this is like, I always looked at this era for the commissioner as, you know, this is where Gary Bettman, he's gonna take like the last however many years of the career, and this is gonna be like, I'm writing my legacy here.
Yeah.
And the other thing, and you and I talked about this the other day, he's really setting up Bill Daly for some easy early wins.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, right now, and listen, I still think the NHL, and rightfully so, is still buzzing off Four Nations.
Sure.
Dude, remember like how much of a, of course you do, how much of a home run Winter Classic was?
Yeah.
There
Things
are a
are
lot
good.
of there are a lot of naysayers,
Things are good.
and I was one of those like, Four
Stadiums.
Nations isn't going to be that good.
Stadium series.
Like, and
Killed it.
Did you have any idea though? And listen, a lot of it was because of, you know, Montreal in the opening shift that Saturday night, but still, like, that was a tape measure home run.
Did you get some of that vibe from first period of game 2? Like,
Yes.
there was a little Four
Yes.
Nations
Yeah, I'm
like glow up for that game, and I'm like, ooh.
ooh.
I don't know, man. I'm happy that he's happy. I'm happy that he feels like he can goof around with somebody who may or may not have run some Photoshop contests where people put his face on like Marilyn Monroe's body. That's good. We're in a good place. We're in a better place, me and Gary, these days. I like it.
It's good.
Yeah.
On that, we'll wrap it up. Thanks to all of our guests. Nobody. You just listen to B and Greg shoot the shit for an
That's
hour.
right. Yeah, we did, and get ready for 3 more
Get rid of
editions of it this week.
3 more days of it, folks. Because MVSW week continues here in Sunrise. Enjoy the game tonight. We are back tomorrow at 3 o'clock Eastern. More MVSW here on the Daily Faceoff YouTube channel. Hit the like,
look at this
hit the
man.
subscribe. Look at that. It's just like that picture that we use for look, we're young again.
I
right?
had a
Like
cigar in my bag for
still
like
look
the
the
last
same.
week. I just smoked it at the track yesterday. So
You
low.
still smoking cigars, eh?
I had 2 yesterday. Oh, it's not good.
How do you smoke 2 cigars? How do you smoke 2 cigars and not get a headache?
Very slowly.
Seriously, dude. Your
Oh,
mother
I
made
had
that
one in
picture.
the afternoon because I went to Gulfstream to watch the ponies run, and did okay there. And then I'm staying at a hotel here that's near a cigar bar that I rather fancy. So I had another one during the NBA game last night.
Oh, dude, that's awesome.
I'm not going to make a regular thing out of it. And kids, don't
know what?
don't smoke the cigars.
So there's going to be, after tonight's done,
Yeah,
we got a little bit of a break here until Thursday.
yeah.
What are you filling your time with?
Well, writing. That's why I'm
Yeah.
paid to be here. Television. That's why I'm paid to be here. And probably a pilgrimage to find some beer or tacos that I really enjoy here.
Ooh.
And then probably more cigars. I'm not going to lie to you. This is probably going to happen again, once or twice.
All right, we'll have to get together one of these nights. And I'll see you tonight up in Popcorn World.
Absolutely.
There he is, Greg Wyshynski, folks. Marek, on behalf of all of us here. Patrick, thank you so much for setting all this up. Patrick Puff, who did yeoman's work, Daily Faceoff Live, and then setting all this up. I know it was kind of chaotic a little bit, putting it all together. So, first star, La Première Étoile, comme on dit en français, Patrick Puff.
Yeah.
And thanks to you for watching. Thanks to you for listening and being in the chat as well. We're back tomorrow, 3 o'clock Eastern, for this little. Oh, look at the towel. It's so
Towel.
good with the Easter eggs.
Yeah,
You
so
want to
got-
point out the Easter eggs?
Yeah, sorry. We got the Carolina logo here.
Yeah.
Then we got the lightning bolt on the butt of the rat.
And then right there.
And then
That's
then
for
right
Zach.
on the helmet is right
the
on
ear.
the helmet over here.
You got the ear for the maple leaf.
Oh,
The lightning bolt's on the knee.
Oh, the lightning bolt's on the
On the knee. Knee of the rat.
Oh,
beside
lightning
the
bolt's here.
Panthers
This also
logo.
looks like lightning bolt.
Yeah.
Lightning bolt on the
Yes,
knee,
it does.
and then the maple leaf is in the ear.
Yeah.
Right here is where it is. So kudos to the Panthers for really finding ways to make something that will be a dust rag.
Does this mean the
by
Leafs
end
made
of
it
the
to
year.
this Cup final? Does this mean
Yes,
I get
Zach.
to say that
Zach
the
says
Leafs
this
made
means the Leafs made it to the Cup final. In fact, they did.
Yes, congratulations.
And
Glad to-
there,
congratulations,
go,
Zach. Your team
go
made
team,
it.
go.
All right, that's it for our little act. We're back tomorrow.
Bye.
If you enjoyed that video, and we certainly hope that you do, please hit the subscribe button right there here at Daily Faceoff. I will put this lineup up against any hockey lineup anywhere. It all gets underway at 9 o'clock Eastern with Morning Cup of Hockey. That is Johnny Lazarus. That is Colby Cohen. Then at noon, it's DFO Live. And then 3 o'clock Eastern, The Sheet. Get caught up on everything in hockey.